Hey everyone, welcome back and Happy New Year. It's my first day back trading for the year. It's Monday the 8th of January and haven't made a video in a while, so it feels good to be back. So I'm going to analyze EU, show you what I'm looking at today. Let's get into it, and we start off on the weekly. Right, I'm not going to spend much time here, but we can see we previously filled this weekly fair value gap and continued our bullish run. Now we filled this fair value gap in the premium of this weekly leg, which looks kind of bearish if you look at which leg we're in. So you see I've marked out previous weekly highs of last week, previous weekly lows, and we closed out, spiking into that and mitigating that fair value gap, which is of course a POI. Let's go down to the daily. So though the weekly leg of course looks bearish, I've marked out here, we can see that the daily leg looks bullish, right? Because we've got a higher high here and we've pulled back down from this weekly POI and we've come down to a discount of that daily leg. So we still have this daily fair value gap POI below, right, which we may go on to fill, but we've come down into a discount and we have a bullish leg. Previous day highs and previous day lows have been marked out, as these are important liquidity points, as I've said in the past. And you can see Friday the 5th of Jan, wasn't trading that week obviously, but you can see we've got this indecisive doji that's taken buy side and sell side liquidity. So let's go down to the 4 hour now. So you'll see what I've marked out and how I'm thinking, and I'll talk us through it. Right, so we pulled back down. We swept some higher time frame sell side liquidity from previous lows here and here. That gave us, I think there was news as well, because it was the Friday, so NFP and FOMC announcements during that week, I believe. So we had a big bullish reaction from here, and we spiked up into this 4 hour POI, which is a fair value gap, taking out these previous highs, and we closed as a sweep. So on the 4 hour, we swept both sides clearly, and it does look like we've had this high test close that has taken out buy side liquidity. So it looks like we could head lower to taking out to be drawn into this higher time frame POI, which is the 4 hour fair value gap and the daily fair value gap, which is, as I've said, the discount of the daily leg. Now, I'll draw your attention to here as we go down to the hourly, but yeah, just take that in. We've got 4 hour that does look bearish, but it's also in a recent range, right? The candles are still closing within this range, so it's kind of indecisive and maybe also finding its feet. On the hourly, right? On the hourly, it's a different picture. So this is where a bit of indecision comes into it. We swept sell side liquidity, had a big bullish run, closed above the previous high, right? Despite these POIs, we filled a 1 hour fair value gap, we're in a 4 hour fair value gap, and we pulled back, though correctively. However, you also have to keep in mind that it's a Friday afternoon and evening, the markets are closing. So the corrective price action isn't necessarily reflective of, okay, we've turned bullish. However, we've got this higher high. So we've got a new bullish 1 hour leg possibly in play. All right, so this is the leg here that I've identified. We've pulled back now to a 1 hour discount. It's also a POI, 1 hour and 4 hour fair value gap, which so far has been rejected, right? Price closed out, sweeping that sell side liquidity at the POI, I guess, and mitigating it and showing some sort of intention to go higher. So of course I'm being cautious because we've rejected high time frame POIs up here and we've swept sell side liquidity down here and mitigated some higher time frame POIs, right? So it is I'm going to need further signals from the lower time frames, and I'm going to be patient and wait. But this is what the picture is at the moment. We've got possible bullish behavior from the 1 hour after being in you know, a range, and the 4 hours kind of ranging in recent price, right? But we're wary of the fact that we've mitigated the buy side POIs, and we still have sell side liquidity POIs on the higher time frame too, which could draw price, and ultimately, you know, we could be waiting to fill this on the daily. So I'm going to take us down to the 15-minute and show what I'm looking at today. So this is what I have drawn out. We have this 15-minute and 1 hour bullish leg, right? Price has been corrective since taking this buy side liquidity. We have swept Asia lows, right, which is sell side liquidity, and we've mitigated the 1 and 4 hour fair value gap. However, as I've noted here, we have these POIs but no bullish momentum yet. So in order to support my bias, which is favoring bullish, but of course I need to wait for confirmation because we could continue bearish as well, we have these two drawings that I've got here. So price could, in my opinion, because we're still in this 15-minute bearish order flow, we haven't switched yet, price could pull down, you know, hold this low, then break this high, right? So it might be clear on the 5-minute. So we can pull back down, hold this low, mitigate this 5-minute order block, then break the high, and then have a corrective pullback for an entry, right? Which would be great. It looks like switch of order flow, and we're going to maintain this possible bullish bias from mitigating these POIs, right? Also, the other scenario is we could just break bullish from here, taking out this high, which would be new bullish order flow on the 15-minute, and the leg would change and it would look something like this, right? And then we expect, you know, a corrective pullback to a POI on the lower time frame in order to go long. However, I'm not just basing this possible long bias off of EU. So I'm going to go over to DXY now. And I'm going to show you also that DXY on the hourly, I'll even go up to the 4 hour first. So you can see previous days, we've mitigated not fully, but a daily fair value gap. We filled a price gap that was left there from a few weeks ago in December. Down to the hourly, you can see we have a 1 hour and 4 hour POI that's now been mitigated, and also, of course, Asia has also been swept, and these POIs have held. This gives some conviction to my bias, which is why I've favored longs, right? Short DXY, long EU. But as I said on EU, we don't yet have any bullish momentum. So that's why I'm waiting for these scenarios, because if price does make a lower price, which is why I've got these alerts here, I can continue with the order flow, switch my bias to targeting lower price if everything looks good for that. Now this may not happen today. Price is moving fairly slow. We're still, you know, fairly early in January, and there's no news. There's no high impact news for the first 3 days of the week, I believe. So price may not actually move with any momentum, so may not get into these. But this is what I'm looking at, and it feels good to be back. So again, Happy New Year to everybody, and yeah, let's continue this.